Life is like a book. The first chapter is full of youthful dreams. The middle chapters are filled with struggles and ambitions, but the final chapter holds quiet reflection and tranquility. I once read this quote on the yellowed pages of an old notebook, and every time I recall it, my heart stirs with a mix of nostalgia and realization. Indeed, youth often rushes by in haste. We are so engrossed in chasing grand goals, believing that with spacious houses, abundant wealth, and prestige, life will become complete. Yet, as we cross the threshold of 50, when achievements start to pale in comparison to the passage of time, we suddenly realize that life's true meaning lies in cherishing the simplest values. It was on one crisp autumn afternoon that I met Mr. Peter, a 75-year-old man, at a small park on the outskirts of New York City. He sat quietly on a weathered bench, his snow-white hair rustling gently in the autumn breeze. Around him, golden maple leaves floated down, creating a serene and melancholic scene. In that hushed space, time seemed to stand still, leaving behind the solitary figure of an old man amidst the vast beauty of nature. "I once owned a very large house, Mr. Peter began, his gentle eyes carrying the weight of countless memories. That house was spacious and grand, but when I grew older, I realized it meant nothing. My children grew up and moved far away, and the empty house became a cavern of loneliness. Back then, I thought a big, beautiful house was proof of success and happiness, but I was wrong." His words left me speechless. Is this not a common thought for so many of us? During our youthful journey, we build our careers, relentlessly accumulate wealth, and use material possessions as the yardstick of happiness. But when old age arrives, when we've faced life's highs, lows, and losses, we finally understand that the most important things in life cannot be bought with money. I gazed at Mr. Peter, his frail hands gripping an old wooden cane, while his eyes reflected a peaceful acceptance of life. Smiling softly, he continued, "At the end of our lives, my dear, the greatest treasures we need are just 4 simple things: health, family, friendship, and a positive, peaceful spirit. Anyone who possesses these 4 things will find happiness, even in the smallest of homes, far greater than someone living in a castle of solitude." Every word he spoke sank deep into my mind, forcing me to reflect on my own life. Was I also blindly pursuing superficial things, neglecting my health, and forgetting the people who loved me most? Sitting under the falling maple leaves, I silently absorbed Mr. Peter's wisdom. And from that moment on, the story of the 4 greatest treasures of old age became a profound lesson in my journey to discover the true meaning of life. Health, the greatest asset. In every person's life, health is often spoken of as the most precious treasure. Yet ironically, most of us are willing to trade it for more superficial things. In our youth, we immerse ourselves in work, tirelessly chasing after money and success, believing that when we finally achieve it, we'll have time to rest and take care of ourselves. However, old age waits for no one, and once health is lost, no amount of money can bring it back. Mr. Peter, a man who had experienced all the ups and downs of life, shared with me stories that were both heart-wrenching and enlightening. He said, "My friends, they were all great men and women in the eyes of others. They possessed wealth, status, and influence, yet they could not own their own bodies when old age came knocking." The story of Mrs. Linda. Among Mr. Peter's friends, the story of Mrs. Linda was particularly haunting. Mrs. Linda was once a successful businesswoman. By the age of 30, she had built a chain of stores spread across the city. She worked from dawn until late at night, attending meetings, signing contracts, and refusing to give herself a moment's rest. Whenever someone mentioned health, she would laugh it off and say, "My body is still strong. Only lazy people think about resting. Success waits for no one." But by the age of 60, Mrs. Linda was diagnosed with a severe heart condition. Her years of overworking had taken a heavy toll. At the time, she didn't dare tell her children about her illness, afraid that they would worry. Whenever the chest pains came, whenever the cough lingered, she brushed it off as nothing serious, saying it was just the weather changing. Then one day, while she was cooking dinner, Mrs. Linda collapsed on the kitchen floor. Her family rushed her to the hospital, where the doctors revealed that her condition had worsened over the years and could have been treated if caught earlier. Standing by her hospital bed, her son held her hand tightly and asked, "Why didn't you tell us, Mom?" Tears rolled down Mrs. Linda's wrinkled face as she whispered the words that silenced the room. If I had known it would come to this, I would have lived differently. I would have loved myself more. Mrs. Linda's story serves as a stark reminder. There is nothing more important than health. Without it, money, fame, and everything else lose their meaning. A person can lose all their wealth and rebuild it, but once health is gone, it cannot be regained, no matter how much money one has. The price of forgetting to care for oneself. Mr. Peter shared another story, this time about a friend named David. David was once the CEO of a major corporation, owning villas, luxury cars, and all the things others could only dream of. Yet after 40 years of relentless work, David paid the price with his own legs. David was diagnosed with diabetes at 50, Mr. Peter explained. If he had taken the doctor's advice, he could have managed his condition. But David ignored it. He continued to eat poorly, work himself to exhaustion, and ultimately, he lost one of his legs. Lying in his lavish but empty mansion, David once sighed to Mr. Peter, "I spent my whole life making money, but in the end, money couldn't give me back my legs. I was wrong." The stories of Mrs. Linda and Mr. David are not uncommon in today's world. Many people prioritize work and wealth over their health, forgetting that our bodies are not infinite machines. By the time they realize this, it is often too late. Cherish your health while you still can. Mr. Peter emphasized that while we are young, we must learn to love and care for ourselves. Do not trade your sleep, your meals, and your mental well-being for fleeting success. A healthy body not only allows us to live longer, but also helps us enjoy life to the fullest. He shared his own morning routine, a practice he held sacred for decades. "Every morning I take a walk in the park, breathe in the fresh air, and admire the world around me. That, to me, is the greatest happiness. A healthy morning, a satisfying meal, and a good night's sleep. That is true success." Health has no age limit. Many people believe that health is a concern only for the young, but in reality, health knows no age. Whether you are 20 or 60, taking care of your body is always necessary. Mr. Peter recounted the story of an 80-year-old woman in his neighborhood. "That old woman practices light exercise in her garden every morning," he said. "She once told me, 'The body is like a plant. If you want to thrive, you have to nurture it every day.' I'm too old now to be lazy." Her words made me laugh at first, but upon reflection, they rang true. Our bodies are lifelong companions. If we treat them well, they will carry us through the twilight years of our lives with strength and vitality. The connection between health and happiness. Good health is not merely about living longer, it is about living well. Imagine an old man who spends his final years bedridden, unable to enjoy the simple pleasures of life. A walk in the park, a conversation with friends, or a quiet evening with family. Compare him to another man, full of vitality, who spends his days gardening, reading, and playing with his grandchildren. Both may have lived to the same age, but their lives could not have been more different. Mr. Peter described health as the foundation upon which happiness is built. When you are healthy, you can pursue your passions, travel, spend time with loved ones, and find joy in the smallest moments. But without health, even the simplest tasks become impossible. He shared a memory of his younger days, watching his father struggle with illness. "My father was a strong man, but in his final years he could barely move. I still remember the sadness in his eyes when he said, 'I wish I had taken better care of myself. I would give anything to walk through the fields one last time.'" Practical steps to preserve health. Mr. Peter offered simple but powerful advice for taking care of our health. 1. Exercise regularly. Even 30 minutes of walking each day can make a huge difference. 2. Eat balanced meals. Avoid processed foods and focus on fresh, nutritious ingredients. 3. Sleep well. Never underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. It is when our bodies repair and recharge. 4. Manage stress. Practice meditation, breathing exercises, or any activity that brings you peace. 5. Regular checkups. Don't ignore the signs your body gives you. Prevention is always better than cure. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, Mr. Peter said firmly. It's the best gift you can give to the people who love you. Because when you're healthy, you're able to care for them too. Conclusion. Health is the key to a happy life. The stories of Mrs. Linda, Mr. David, and countless others remind us that health is the cornerstone of everything meaningful in life. Money can build castles and buy luxury, but it cannot restore a broken body. So cherish your health now. Rest when you need to. Eat well. Exercise. Love your body as you would a dear friend, for it is the only place you truly live. As Mr. Peter wisely said, in the end, a healthy life is a happy life. Don't wait until it's too late to realize this truth. Sitting there listening to Mr. Peter's story on that peaceful afternoon, I couldn't help but reflect deeply. Happiness in old age, simple yet profound, does not come from lavish mansions or abundant wealth. What truly matters isn't the material possessions we tirelessly chase throughout our lives. In the end, the greatest treasures are our health to live each day to the fullest, the love of our family, the company of friends to share life's moments, and a serene, optimistic heart amidst life's rush. I vividly remember Mr. Peter's gaze as he recounted the years gone by. His eyes did not hold regret, but rather a calm acceptance, as if he had weathered every storm life had thrown his way, and now simply wished to live the remaining days in peace. He had lost much: friends, the health of loved ones, and even precious time when he too forgot the true meaning of life. But now, having realized what truly matters, Mr. Peter felt fortunate to still have the time to care for himself and those around him. Life is short, my friend. So often, we chase after distant dreams and forget the simple, priceless things right before us. We only stop when old age arrives, when our hair turns gray, when our health begins to fade, and when it's too late to start over. But why must we wait until then to realize the truth? Take a moment to reflect on your life. How long has it been since you took the time to care for your health? How long has it been since you sat down and told your parents, spouse, or children how much you love them? Have you ever stopped to admire the sunset, taken a deep breath, and felt gratitude simply for being alive? Happiness is not found in faraway places. It resides in the simplest moments. A family dinner filled with laughter, a morning when you wake up feeling healthy and strong, an afternoon walk with an old friend, and a heart that knows how to smile, even in the face of life's hardships and challenges. Mr. Peter once told me, we cannot change the past, but we can choose how we live in the present and the future. While you still have time, love yourself more. Say thank you and sorry to the people around you. Old age comes faster than you think, and by then, you'll wish you had lived differently. Life is fleeting. Slow down a little. Love a little more. Be grateful for what you have. From your health and family to your friends and every precious moment you are still present on this earth. Don't let everything slip through your fingers before you realize what you have lost. If Mr. Peter's story has touched your heart, share it with your loved ones. Sometimes a small story can serve as a great reminder, helping someone find the true meaning of life. And don't forget to hit subscribe to Life Stories 365 to hear more inspiring stories like this one. Thank you for joining us. We hope every story shared here will be a seed of love and peace planted in your heart and in the hearts of those around you. Wishing you good health, serenity, and happiness as you journey toward discovering life's true meaning.